Hello everyone, I'm Day Weather Meteorologist Don Day with your Public Lands Council weekly weather update for this March 23rd, 2024. It's being brought to you by WSR Insurance Services Incorporated, also being brought to you by Ag Risk Advisors. Well, we've got a lot of weather to be concerned about, especially anyone who's in calving or lambing operations, as we have a major winter storm for portions of the northern Rockies and the northern and central plains, especially the central and northern plains. You folks in the Dakotas, a large part of Nebraska, Minnesota, parts of Iowa, Wisconsin, into the Great Lakes, back into Montana, parts of Wyoming, you are going to see some winter weather conditions. Now, further south and west, winter storm conditions as well, but those areas I just mentioned are in the bullseye. This means stressful livestock weather coming, not only because of this upcoming storm, but we're going to have stressful livestock conditions off and on for the next several weeks as a very stormy pattern develops across North America, coast to coast. There's going to be a lot of weather, whether it's winter weather in the northern plains and the Rockies, severe weather in the plains and southern plains and southeastern United States. Very active and stormy March weather will continue into early April. And this is meaning a trend of colder weather. For the central and eastern parts of the U.S., it's been a warm March. The West has been colder, but everybody's about ready to get colder for the coming weeks ahead. You can see this in the last week. It has trended colder in the northern plains and the Great Lakes, the desert Southwest, while parts of the West have seen a warm up after the storm that we had last week. And there it is. That storm late last week depositing huge amounts of snow in the southwestern United States mountains, the mountains of Colorado, the Four Corners region. But you can see that out on the plains, very quiet weather conditions while it continues to be wet in the south. And that's where the heavy snows were, if you look here over the last couple of weeks, centered over the central and northern Rockies. But what's going to be happening is you're going to see the snow really go into these areas here, especially along and north of Interstate 80. Snowpack conditions continue to be very good in the central and southern basins. We see a lot of green and blue, but you can see the red, the orange, and the yellows up here. The good news is that the current change in the weather that looks more stormy is going to help this part of the U.S. in terms of snowpack conditions in the coming weeks. Drought monitor conditions kind of showing you where the dryness has been this winter, especially in the northern areas. But the area I just outlined is the area that is likely going to have the best chance with the next couple of storms to get wet. We'll also continue to see some help down here, and I think Iowa, parts of the Midwest, and the Corn Belt will see some help as well. This is why by Monday we see a deep storm coming into Nebraska, across the U.S. Cold Canadian air has easy access into the U.S. Moisture drawing up into the storm will help produce a lot of heavy snow on the backside of the system. Back here, significant snows, significant severe weather will develop out here ahead of the storm as we get to the second half of the weekend into early next week. By Wednesday next week, that plains storm is still there. High pressure comes into the west, but it doesn't stay because another storm comes into the high plains and Rockies by Friday of next week. That's followed by Easter Sunday into Monday by another storm. And you see this one back here? That's going to come in behind this one. So they're just going to keep coming. It's going to be a very busy weather pattern. And over the next week, this is the precipitation forecast. And you can see the area right here of the heaviest moisture. And this will be mostly, if not all, in the form of snow. Snow back into parts of the Rockies, even the southwestern United States. A lot of rain in the Corn Belt, Midwest, and this will be associated with severe weather. More heavy snows for the Sierra Nevada and more rains for the Pacific coast and the California coastal areas. And you can see a lot of snow, could be a lot of snow, especially in this area right here in the coming week ahead. And more storms will track along this path as we get to the end of the month and as we get into early April. So stay tuned. Could be a rocky, rolly ride here in the weeks ahead. Our next update will be the 30th. Have a good week ahead.